To check out all our products, go to MusicNomadCare.com.
So the first thing I'll do is I'll take my Pick Capo and I'm going to put it over the low E string, under the A string, and over the D string. Then I'm going to slide it up to the first fret. And there's a mark right on the capo showing you where to put the first fret. Now what this is doing is this is holding the string down at the first fret, because what we will now do is putting the guitar in the playing position. I'm going to fret the low E string at the 12th fret, and I've now created a straight edge between the first fret and the 12th fret. Grabbing my truss rod gauge, I will select the right gauge for this guitar. So printed right on the gauges are the measurement, the thickness of the gauge. We've got a 6/1000ths of an inch, an 8/1000ths of an inch, and a 10/1000ths of an inch, and what guitar each one of those would be used for. I'm going to use the 6/1000ths of an inch for the electric guitar. And what I will do with this is I'm going to, after I fret it at the 12th fret, I will put this gauge on top of the 6th fret and slide it underneath the low E string. So at that point, there will be 3 possible conditions, and we'll use the touch rule to decide what we're working with. So if I push the gauge between the string and it heavily touches the fret and the string, then I have a heavy touch and I have too little relief in the neck, and I will need to turn my truss rod nut counterclockwise to allow more relief into the neck. If I put the gauge on top of the fret and under the string and I have a large gap, or any gap, between the gauge and the string, I will know I have too much relief, and I will need to tighten the truss rod by turning the nut clockwise. If I put the gauge between the fret and the string and I have a perfect fit, it just barely touches the string and the fret, then I have the exact relief measurement that I'm looking for. My 5/16 wrench that I'll use for adjusting the truss rod also has a Phillips head screwdriver on the end. Now these screws are very easy to lose. If you drop them, they slide down the headstock and off onto the floor. This happens to be a magnetic tip, so I don't have that problem with this. And now I've gained access to the truss rod nut. Now before we make any adjustments on the guitar, it is important to make sure that the guitar is in tune through all of these steps. You want to ensure that you have proper string tension on the neck before you take any measurements or make any adjustments. So I have the proper wrench to adjust my truss rod, and a couple of things when you're going to adjust a truss rod nut. If you go to adjust it, you want to tighten it or loosen it. If it feels stuck, just don't force it. If you really feel like you're having to put a lot of tension on it, just stop. It may be seized. It could be it's out of threading and the nut is buried on the end. It could just be rusted. Yeah, you'll want to, first of all, you'll want to try going backwards on that and loosening the nut. Try to break it loose. And if you just feel like you're in over your head at that point, just take it down to your local shop. So on this guitar, I need to tighten the truss rod. So I'm going to put my wrench on my truss rod nut and I'm going to tighten it about 1/8 of a turn. Just give it a little snug there. Now I'll put my guitar back in the playing position. So now I'll take my truss rod gauge and I'll remeasure between my 6th fret and the string. And at this point the gauge is just perfectly sliding between the string and the fret. So I have the proper amount of relief for this guitar.
For detailed videos on how to use each gauge during the setup process, please visit MusicNomadCare.com for all our how-to videos.